Hello guys, and welcome to part 5 of expanding the Roman numerals. You might be seeing this early because it's going to be available a lot earlier than the normal YouTube release on Eternity, so thanks for checking out Eternity if you're here because of that. Anyway, if you haven't seen my other videos, I recommend checking those out first because that will explain a lot about what U is and you'll just see. So let's begin, continuing from where we left off in part 3. Yes, part 3, not part 4, part 3. So after U, we just have UI, so we're just adding like these small numerals to U. So we can do UII and UV and UM and yeah, all this. Eventually we get to UU, U times 3, U times U, U times U times U. Yeah, just kind of simple stuff. We're just multiplying and then exponentiating and tetrating. Eventually, we get to U with U arrows to U. And then we get to U with 2 lines. So, for U, lines have a completely different meaning to what they did with the standard numerals. Instead of multiplying by 1,000, I'm not sure the exact term for this, but it's equal to this in beef. So it's U with U arrows to U. That sounds really complicated, but just if you understand beef, this is just the formula for it. So U with 3 lines would be this in beef, and then U with n lines, that. So just make sure you understand what this means, because that will be really important for what comes next. So then we can do U with U lines, U with U with U lines, U with 2 lines, and then IV, and we can do the same thing all over again until we get to this spiral thingy, which is equal to U. But now in this, we're replacing the M's with U's. So it's the whole thing all over again, but instead of starting with M's, it starts with U's. So this is equal to 2U, IIU. So with a little U in the subscript. And then we can do the same thing again, adding much smaller Roman numerals. So IIU, II. Then we can do lines again, just like we did with U, like not long ago. So we're gonna have 3 lines, and then we do the whole process all over again, and we get to this thing. Notice how we don't have U's here, now we have IIU's. So this is going to be equal to III with U subscript. Then you can see how this goes, we're just keep on adding 1 to this number, and adding the U subscript. So we can get to MU, and then we get to UU. We can do U, 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 and U, 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 U. And yeah, we can put a line between this, just like we always use the lines for. We show how many U's there would be in this stack. So now we can put a U line U, U line U, line U, U with 2 lines to IV, and you can see where this goes. We do the same thing all over again. So yeah, you can imagine we have lines here and here and blah blah blah. Eventually, now we can do the whole thing all over again, but we use these like 45-degree lines instead of the standard lines. So we can do the same thing all over again. This is going to be equal with U with II inside it. So now that we have this, we can do the same thing all over again. We can put the lines on top, do the diagonal lines and everything. Then we get to U with a 3 inside it. Then we can do U with a 4 inside it, U with V inside it, U with U inside it, U with U with U with U inside it, U with U with U with U, and it keeps on going like that. Then we get to a U line X. Now that we have the line here, this means that it's U with U with U, and the deepness of that is X. So there's 10 U's in this. Yeah. So then we can do a U with a line and U with a line and U with a line of U. And then we have 2 lines. We just do the same thing all over again. This thing. This insane thing. So yeah, you can see instead of starting with N's, we start with these U's. So yeah, this is going to be equal with U, I, and then an II on top. So this is going to be important later because we're going to have 3 digits here and then 4 digits. It's going to be really cool. So yeah, this is U with I. You might think this looks exactly the same, but if we zoom in, you can see that these U's aren't just any U's, they're U with I and an II, like the thing we just covered. This insane thing. So now, you can imagine what U with 3 and then the 2 on top is. So this would be a U2 and then the 2 on top. So then we just keep on going like that. Here's a zoom in. So now that we have this, we can make all sorts of things. All sorts of things. You get this thing that looks kind of like a face and it's kind of creepy. Yeah, we can just do this whole thing all over again. Eventually, we'll get to this. And this thing will be equal to 3 on top. So then if this is nested 3 times, then we have a 3 with 3 on top. So if it's nested 4 times, then we have a 4 with 3 on top. And we just do the exact same thing all over again, but now we have a 3 on top. So once we start nesting this, we put a 4 on top. And yeah, you can see how this goes. We can get to some astonishingly big numbers. Get to this thing. Eventually, once we start nesting it with U in the upper place, now we have 3 digits. From here on, it kind of works just how Bowers exploding array function works. So we just keep on adding more inputs, more arrays, just like that. Yeah. So it just keeps on going like that until we have this. Then we can have 4 inputs, 5 inputs, 6 inputs. And now we put lines between the U's to show how many inputs there would be. So yeah, we can add a lot of inputs, as you can see here. Now we can make this number really big, like that. Then we can start nesting that, and again. Now we have 2 lines between. And you can see how this goes. We're doing the same thing all over again because we have 2 lines between. So then we have 3 lines. And then now we put another Roman numeral here to show how many lines there would be. And we do the same thing all over again. And now we have a line showing how many times it's nested. Now we have 2 lines showing how many times the lines are nested. Yeah, it's just crazy. Well, now we put another Roman numeral here to show how many lines there would be. Yeah, it's crazy. Eventually, we get to this thing. This monstrosity. This will be U conjoined to U. So once we have this, we can do the same thing all over again with this U, because then we have U with a line. Yeah, we can just do all of this all over again. Once we get to this thing, now we have a 2 in this. So we can do the same thing until we get to here, so then the second U has a digit in it. So now we have 3 U's conjoined to each other. And we can get to 4 U's, and 5 U's, and now we have too many U's. I don't like having too many U's, so we just simplify it down even more. So this will be U with a diamond U. So these diamonds show how many U's there would be, and then we put the Roman numeral inside the diamond. So yeah, that's very cool. We can do that, and start nesting it, and then we put a line here. Hooray, we can do the same thing all over again now. We get to this monstrosity. If we zoom closely, you can see we have this inside it. So yeah. This thing will be equal to our new huge milestone, T. With cool background to make it look cool. So, now that we have T, we can go even further than T. Because in the thumbnail, you can see I promised that we have not only T, but also K. So, carrying on from here, we have TI and TII and TV and TX and TU and TT. And we do the same thing we did for U. We do T times T, T with T to the power of T, T with T pentated to T, until we get to this in Bird's array notation, or just array notation. But this isn't going to be the exact same thing we did for U. This is going to be different. So we're going to write it out as T with a comma to the amount of times it's in that formula. So we have the T, comma, N thing. T was originally made by Athen Gaming. He developed the whole T concept and the comma concept, but I kind of changed how commas work. So then we have T, comma, T, T, comma, T, comma, T, T with 2 commas to I. So it just shows how many T, comma, T's there would be. Like that. So then we can put more commas to show, like, repeated the previous commas. Kind of works like new sub arrow, but slightly different. Because, yeah. So yeah, now we have 4 commas, 5 commas, but now we have too many commas. So we're gonna put another Roman numeral here between the 2 commas. So now that we have this, we can take this really far. We can do T with X between the 2 commas, T with T between the 2 commas, T with a comma, T between 2 commas. Now we can nest it. So, in my Rashflash's nesting function, we can write it out like this to show how many times it's nested. So this thing will be equal to T with a line and IV. So now we've added the line system back into it again with T this time. So yeah, that develops this. So you have TIV, TT, TTT, and we can do the same thing all over again. I've said same thing all over again like 8 times this video. So we get to this number, this insane number. But instead of just going here, we can take this even further and just using this thing. So what if we did T, but instead of starting with M's, it starts with T's? That sounds like it doesn't make any sense at all. But we can remember that somewhere deep inside T, it is made up of M's. It's made up of M's somewhere deep in this cycle. It's made all up of M's. Because we know from the very beginning that it's made up of a lot of little M's, and we just use numerals to show how many M's there would be instead of writing the whole thing out. But if T is made out of M's, then that means it would make sense to say T, but instead of starting with M's, it starts with T's. So this number is insanely huge, and there's no point for it, but we can keep going. So this thing will be equal with T subscript 2. So we're using subscripts again, similar to what we did with U. So then we have T, and then 3 in a subscript, T and 4 in a subscript, T and T in a subscript, T and T and T in a subscript, and then we have a T, a line, and IV to show how many T's there would be subscripted. Wow, this is just insane. So we can take this all the way back to the same thing we did with U, and we get to these T with 45-degree lines. Yeah, this thing. So this will be equal to T, II, then a space, II. So this is not what we did for U, but this is what we're doing for T. So eventually, once we get to T with II, so we know that this is also made up of M's. So we can have T, 3, and space 2. So then we just keep on changing the number here, and we can take this really far, get all the way up to here, and here. Then we put a line, do the same thing all over again. So we get to this thing. So we have, it's the same thing as earlier, but we have a 2 next to it. So this is equal to T, I. So like that. So now we have a 3 here instead of a 2. Just do the same thing again. Till we get to a 4 here. Have a 5 here. A T here. And then we can nest it together. Now, we have 3 like inputs here in the subscript. We can do the same thing all over again until we get to T. We're doing basically the same thing that Bowers array notation does. Bowers exploding array notation does, because the way we're using these inputs is like exactly the same. So then we got 4 inputs, 5 inputs, 6 inputs. Now we have too many inputs. So what do? We have too much T. Too much T. Okay, whatever. So we put a line here to show how many inputs there are. That's very good. Yep, we just do the same thing again. The same thing all over again until we get to this thing, because we're using these lines, and oh my god, this is just insane. But we're still going. So now we have T with a subscript on the other side. So we have an I opposite to it. So we can do the same thing we did with the normal subscript. Do that. Now we have an I here because we're adding the subscript just like we did earlier. But there's a 2 here at the same time. So we just keep on doing that till we get to this, which now we have a 3 in the flipped subscript. Now we can just put like anything in here. Now we can just do the same thing we did for normal subscript all over again. Once we get to this thing, this is going to be equal to T with a 2 here. So you can imagine how we do it here. We just do the same thing all over again with the subscript in a completely different position. We could put it in any position we want. But eventually, we start running out of positions. Like, it just gets annoying to get a new position every single time. So what we're going to do instead is we're making this whole new system. So this T with a 2 here can be written as T with I in the 3rd place. So it's the 3rd orientation of subscripts. So then this would be I in the 4th place. This would be I in the 1st place. This would be I in the 2nd place. So we're just doing the same thing all over again. So, wait, what? No. Whatever. So, yeah. This isn't very cool though. I don't want it to continue like this. So I've added something really cool. Emoticons. I've gone insane, haven't I? Well, now we have emoticons in Roman numerals. So how does this make any sense? How can I in the 3rd place be equal to this emoticon thing? And then I in the 4th place is this emoticon. And then I in the 5th place is this emoticon. Well, I've developed this whole base 11 system made up of these cool little emoticons. How does it work though? So, if we take T and I in the 3rd place, this is going to be equal to this smiley face. So basically, we take the 3 from the 3rd place. We subtract 2 from that. Then we convert that to base 11. But not just any base 11. We're using a special base 11 that consists of these cool symbols that can be used to make emoticons. So these are how this base 11 works. So, if we take a random number like 57, we take away, we turn it to base 11, like 52. And then we convert it to this strange this strange numeric system that I've made. It gives us this. So there's one extra step that comes from here. Then all we do is we add little colons just to make it look like a smiley face. And that's how we've converted this thing into an emoticon. So, for example, there's one exception though, which is the colon B is going to be equal to B with a smile. I know it doesn't fit the symbol, but I know it doesn't fit the base that I just explained, but it's just cooler like this. Like, it's just one exception. So yeah, very cool. Eventually we get to this, which is like the 100 of base 11 with the colons. So after that, we get to, this is going to be equal to 1 in Roman numerals. Not I, 1. Literal 1. The number 1 in Roman numerals. I've gone way too far, haven't I? Well, anyway, now we have 1 in Roman numerals, but 1 as in the actual 1, not I. So, yep, not I, 1. So RN stands for Roman numeral, just to make it people know that it's an actual Roman numeral and not just a normal number 1. So eventually we get to 200. So this is the 200 in the base 11. This will be equal to 2 RN. And then we have 3 RN, 4 RN, and it just keeps on going like that. We can put anything we want before the RN function. We can have a quadrillion RN. We can have Graham's number RN. We can have tree-free RN. You can have anything. But I've decided to use the, is it Greek? I think it's Greek. The period. So a period is equal to 10 to the power of 8 million, or x with MMDCLXV with a line MDCLXVI lines. So yeah, it's made in Rome. The reason it's cool because we have a Roman number being used for Roman numerals. So what are we gonna do with this period though? So this is the numback function. So it's really simple. It just converts a Roman numeral into a number. That's it. There's nothing more to it. For example, M numback is 1,000. So wow, that's very cool. So we can convert a period using the numback function, and then turning it back into a Roman numeral. So we're taking 10 to the power of 8 million, converting it to a Roman numeral, and making it a lot bigger in the process, converting it back into a number, and then converting it into a Roman numeral again, making it even bigger. So I chose utter oblivion in my paper drawings instead of period, but I don't want to go with utter oblivion because that's just too much of a jump. That's a really big number and it just doesn't fit. So then we can take a period and convert it to a number, then back to Roman numerals, convert it to number, and back to Roman numerals. Then we can just keep on doing this. Even more. We can even write this in my nesting function, like that. So this gets repeated 4 times and ends with RN. And yeah, we can get to this insane thing, which means it's period, RN numback, and the amount of RN numbacks there are is period. This thing is not just any other number. It's something insane I call K. We finally made it to this insane Roman numeral called K. K is the third extrava numeral. That's what I've called these sets of numerals. U, T, K. So U is the first extrava numeral. T is, yeah, you know what I mean. So, yep, that's basically where we're going to leave it for today. K is an insane milestone. And yeah, but don't leave yet because there's still a lot of things I want to talk about before we completely finish the video. Part 6 is going to cover a lot of different orientations of K because, trust me, there's a lot. K is very advanced compared to the other two. So, stay tuned for Part 6. If I am doing a Part 6, because as of recording this, I'm not completely sure which one I'm going to make next. If I'm going to make Expanded Roman Numerals Part 6 first, or what comes before second. I don't really know what you guys want more. I've made a poll, so yeah, right now I know it says 83% part 6, but that could easily change. So I'm just still gonna wait a bit before I decide on what I'm making. So, yeah. Now, there's this website I've been working on called Eternity. It's this really cool website full of expanding the Roman numerals thing. It's really cool. I've added all this info, everything. I've spent ages making this. So please check it out. It's really cool. There's probably going to be a link for it in the description. And yeah, please check it out. It's amazing. Eternity benefits. It has every Roman numeral I've covered. Although, they might be slightly different because I haven't made the Roman numerals in Eternity. There are some bonus content that you won't be able to find in other places. It's completely free. Like, I'm not getting paid for this at all. I'm just doing it for fun. And much, much more. So, yeah. Check it out. So, before we start the fan mail, I just wanted to say that 2025 Enrique has been working on this Roman numerals remix party on Scratch, similar to my numbers to question mark thing, but it's with Roman numerals. So that's very cool as well. Thank you, 2025 Enrique. So, fan mail. So we're starting off with something which isn't really fan mail. So Numberbox Fan 1015 on Scratch made expanding Roman numerals, my take. So it's just his own version of expanding the Roman numerals, basically. I don't know if it's really fan mail because it's just him doing the same thing I did. But yeah, it's really cool, honestly. Like, serious, I like it a lot. Like, oh wait, I accidentally skipped by the whole thing. Well, anyway. So, Fading Fields for me made this really cool fan-made part 5. So that's really cool. Yeah. I like that a lot. Gabber15 Yella made this whole fan-made video for other notations and things for the Roman numerals, and it's really cool. Like, honestly, I agree with everything in this video. Everything in this video is amazing, apart from the tree function. The tree function she made is also cool, but my tree function honestly seems a bit better. Sorry. So, my tree n function is a Pythagorean tree with n iterations, like the Pythagorean tree fractal. So, tree 1 looks like this. Tree 2 looks like this. Tree 3 is this. Tree 5 is this. And you can see how this goes. So, once we get to trees that are really big and you cannot tell how many iterations there are just by looking at it, we can put another number here to show how many iterations it has. So we can nest it as well. So that's cool. Bartek is back, made this Roman numerals beyond absolute infinity fan-made. That's really cool, like, seriously. Other Fibonacci the Universe thingy, which is the second time I've mentioned him, actually, made a fan-made absolutely infinity and an absolutely everything. I didn't even know these numbers existed, to be honest. And Alan Gaming made this really cool. He's finally finished every single Roman numeral. Every Roman numeral I've talked about is now in this one video that he uploaded, which is really cool. And I've also added every Roman numeral from this video into Eternity. So yeah, that's cool. It's super duper looper cool. Yay. So here are my paper references for this episode, also available on Eternity. There's so much on Eternity. So yeah. So one last thing before we go. I've been working on these things called Roman numeral gods. These are Roman numerals! Look, I know these do not look anything like Roman numerals, but have you seen modern Googology? Modern fictional Googology nowadays? It's pretty much as insane as this, isn't it? So yeah, there are these little scratch animations that are really cool, with really, really big Roman numerals. Flippin' moving animated Roman numerals. So, yep, that's it. Bye, guys.